On the 1st of April or the 4th of April, I guess it was the 4th of April, we were given orders to move out toward the big hills, 888 and 868, which were in the news from Marine outposts up on those mountains fighting vicious battles with the NVA. And so we moved to the northwest, and on the 4th of April, we were kind of piggybacking platoons within the company. You know, one would take the lead and then we'd jump. And so we ran into a fortified position. We were taking a lot of mortar fire, and from the moment we left the base, basically, a lot of artillery. And whatever, it led to the point where my platoon was supposed to take this position, which was basically another one of those bare hills where you do it the old-fashioned way. You get on line and you start up the hill, and they let you come up real close, and then they blow the shit out of you. I think I had a wound from a grenade or a mortar round that day, and nothing, it cut me in the ear and the arm or whatever. Certainly not enough to want to get medevaced out of that situation. But we managed to ultimately, over a course of about 8 hours, take that position, and it turned out to be the position from which the forward observer had been calling fires on the base. And one of the North Vietnamese who were killed was a major who was the forward observer. And the troops they took his belt, his pistol, which had never been fired, compass, knife, and whatnot, leather belt, and gave that to me. And I still have it to this day. My memory was, or is, how difficult it was to move, a foot, let alone 20 feet, and how long it took us. I mean, it seemed like all day. And the sounds of, young people being hit by a rifle is something you'll never forget. It's just, it's not like the movies. It is just a sound that you can't comprehend. It's just a thump and somebody is gone, and the damage that a weapon can do is extraordinary. I remember just being absolutely petrified in the process of all this, and my job was to encourage people to move into what was, fairly, in my mind, withering opposition, withering fire. And these young men were just, they were relentless and brave and scared to death, I'm sure, and yet responded to any type of encouragement to move or any order that they should do something. A number of people killed in the process, wounded. It's both a terrifying experience and an exhilarating experience in terms of achieving your goal, and then the aftermath of reflecting on the cost of what you've just done. And it was exacerbated by questionable judgment as to our commitment and the commitment that we do make, we make in a graduated basis, and reflecting on, not having the overwhelming force that you would want to take a position or to overcome an obstacle. And the result is, when you don't have overwhelming force, you suffer, much more severe casualties sometimes. And that was very hard to deal with. I never, to this day, don't regret having gone to Vietnam, but I remember the intensity of the firefights, the sound of, the sounds of war. And then I remember a Sergeant Rodriguez. He was Puerto Rican, I think. And I remember him taking a .60 caliber machine gun in his hands, which gets very hot when you carry it in your hands. And while North Vietnamese were kind of streaming over our hill trying to overrun us, he would take that machine gun, run up 10 or 12 steps, fire 2 bursts, and then turn around and run back to his hole. And I think he didn't die. I think he was shot in the ass about 8 times. They certainly didn't shoot at him when he was shooting at them, I'll tell you that. He would discourage that. But he was remarkable, losing the name. But I remember a young man who was just a wonderful, he was a young sergeant, and he was going back to Hawaii, and he was marrying a general's daughter. I remember that. And he was an enlisted man. And we were at Quezon, and he was just waiting for, his R&R, so he'd go get married. And they're all meeting in Hawaii. And his time came, and he went down to the Strip to get a helicopter and was killed in the Strip before he ever got out. And I just remember that, how painful it was to experience that. From the moment I landed in the damn country, I was afraid. And I think that anyone that would suggest that in a wartime setting that you're not afraid is full of it. Maybe there's a few John Waynes out there who doesn't bother. And it's not that people don't do extraordinarily heroic things, which they do. And they do it instinctively. The things that I remember, and I was in some very bad situations, but the one thing I remember is I would tell a Marine to go from here to there, knowing that he had a 50-50 chance of getting killed in the process, and it wouldn't be a moment's hesitation, not a second. Aye, sir. Boom, he's gone. And I remember that, and I respect that. I admire that. And it was just character. It's not that these kids didn't get in trouble in the back, and it's not that, they didn't use drugs or marijuana. It was big but we never got to the rear, so it didn't happen very often. We spent our whole time up near the DMZ in direct line of fire, even when we were in the rear.